Hi there, welcome back to the show and a very special conversation lined up now, and we have a very special guest in the studio. We have Mr. Manish Monod, the MD and CEO of Kalpataru Projects, joining us on the show. Lots to talk about. The conversation is going to be centered first and foremost around their big order win that they've announced just this morning, and then we're going to be shifting focus to everything that's happening in the business, the order book, visibility, what's the outlook going ahead, and so much more to talk about. So let's get started. Mr. Monod, good morning and welcome to the studio. Thanks for your time today. First, let's start by talking about this mammoth order win that you've announced in the morning, 4,439 crores for projects in Africa, India and Sweden. Tell us a little bit more about the nature of these projects, and now on the basis of this, where does the order book lie?
Sure. Good morning, Sneh. We declared orders of around 4,400 crores today morning. All the orders are primarily focused on the transmission sector. A large order in Africa, which is closer to 3,000 crore. And then the large orders which we have got from Power Grid, which are for orders in India itself. If you look at our order book inflow for the current year, we have crossed approximately 26,000 crores of orders in the current year. We are guided for orders in excess of 25,000 crores. We have done that. And a significant portion of the order book has come from transmission. So out of the 26,000 odd crores, more than 55% of our order book has come from transmission business, which is a core business. You know, so if you look at our order book, transmission and building and factories is closer to 90% of our order inflow for the current year. So where we are today, I think it gives us very good visibility going forward. We have order book visibility of closer to 65,000 crores plus, which gives us good, visibility going forward.
Okay, so you had guided for 26,000 crores of new orders this year, and you've surpassed this with few days left for the financial year to end. What about next year? What's the outlook coming ahead? Where are you seeing or rather, what percentage of growth are you seeing for the order book?
So, it's difficult for me to quantify the percentage of growth given the current geopolitical and all of that. But what is visible today is that if I look at some sectors where we are very dominant, right? Whether I look at transmission, whether I look at building and factories, I look at oil and gas, I look at urban infra, I look at water, you're seeing traction everywhere. You know, transmission with the plans, if you see the NEA 2031, if you look at Power Grid's guidance itself, it's huge capex. Yeah. Building and factories with residential, commercial, data centers, airports, industrial, the visibility is very, very good. Water, while we have had some challenges in cash flow in the last 1.5 years on Jal Jeevan, but now things are coming back. Huge plan in the budget on water.
Sure.
Oil and gas, international, Saudi, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, all of them, I'm sure whenever this gets over, there will be a lot of plans there also. So where we stand today, majority of our businesses, we are very, very bullish. We would definitely be growing our order book, right? Given that, business has to grow in a natural course. Difficult to quantify today, but we continue to stay bullish on the order book front.
Okay, and interestingly, you mentioned the international exposure of your order book. And, with everything that's happening, I have to ask you about what is the exposure to the Middle East? How much of your orders are affected, if at all, any pressures on business operations?
So if you look at our international order book, closer to 40% of our order book is international, 35 to 40%. Middle East order book is only 10% of our order book. So out of my 65,000 crores, it's around 6,500 crores, which comes from Middle East. And a significant portion of the Middle East order book is Saudi Aramco. We're doing some projects in Saudi Aramco. So out of the Middle East, I would say more than 60% of my order book is Saudi Aramco, where we've not seen work getting stalled.
Okay.
We have periodically seen work getting stalled for a few hours here, a few hours there. We have seen some supply chain issues, but it's not that work is stalled and we're doing nothing. So if you ask me the impact from an overall perspective, it's not very significant at the site level. Yes, we have some challenges on supply chain because you're not getting containers to dispatch, let's say, towers or any of the materials. So supply chain, we're seeing some impact. But in totality, if you look at the larger scale, I think the impact is minimal as of now. So I don't see significant impact coming in Q4 because of this crisis in any form.
Okay.
If this continues beyond the next 2-3 weeks, it could be different, and we'll have to wait and watch what happens.
It's anybody's guess what happens ahead. And of course, Donald Trump has a lot to do with what happens ahead. But Mr. Monod, while we're talking about the business, you had guided for about 20 to 25% revenue growth for FY26. And if I take a look at the quarterly performance, your 9-month performance, your revenue growth has been in and around that mark. What's the outlook to go ahead? Any numbers if you could share with us, or if this revenue growth could be hiked?
So I'll not get into specific numbers given that the Q4 is ending, but I think we had guided for 20 to 25%. We're reasonably sure we'll be there in terms of top line growth. We had guided for 50 basis point improvement in standalone margin and 100 basis point on console. I think that's also looks like is visible. We had guided for a 25,000 plus crore order book, which is already in place. We had also guided for divestment of our road assets. So a large road asset we divested in January, so which also gives us free cash flow to do more on capex. So as far as guidance is concerned, I think we are nearly there. If not, we are better than what we had guided. Now we'll have to just wait and watch what we need to do for next year.
Sure. And your EBITDA margins have also stayed constant between 8 and 8.5%. While I understand you can't share an exact number with us, but any outlook on where in terms of momentum could this number reach in the quarters to come?
So I think from a futuristic perspective, we're definitely looking at a revenue growth which would be a minimum of 20% getting into next year. And I'm reasonably sure that margins are going up. It could be 50 basis points, it could be 75, it could be even more than that. Difficult for me to quantify today because the budgets are still being done. But with that visible order book, which is there for 2.5 years, I'm reasonably sure margins are going up, assuming that this war gets over in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And it does not go beyond that. As of now, it is stalled. So it looks good today. But assuming that things get back to normalcy, I think we'll definitely see a good margin improvement also.
Okay, so that also sounds optimistic. So it seems like everything is working in the favor of the company. Mr. Mono, after Q3, you had guided that the net working capital days and net debt going ahead is going to be lower than Q3. Are the operations aligned? Are we headed in that direction?
Yes, definitely. I think there were 2 reasons why we had guided that. One, there was this road divestment which was planned in January, and that's done. So there's a huge cash flow coming in from there. And second, typically, if you look at our business of EPC, Q4 is the highest collections. So even today, Middle East, we're getting money as normal. Everywhere else, money is at normal. So I don't see that to be a challenge. Definitely, our working capital days, 90 to 100 days on a standalone and 75 to 80 on console looks like achievable. Okay. And debt numbers would be definitely better than where we were on Q4 because of VEPL as well as Q4. Combination of both.
So that also sounds very optimistic. And lastly, just talk to us about what the business mix is going to look like going ahead. The current mix between T&D and B&F, the kind of ratio that you have over there, is that going to sustain the way it is? Are you going to be focusing on either sector more?
So if you ask me today, where we stand today, clearly from a 1 to 2 year perspective, we continue to be extremely bullish on T&D and B&F. And if last 2 years, if you look at it, we've got closer to 50,000 crores of order book, 24, 25, and 25, 26. Out of the 50,000, 40,000 plus has been T&D and B&F. Okay. I don't see that changing. So my own perspective is next couple of years also 75 to 80% orders will be from T&D and B&F. Okay. But as I said, oil and gas, wait and watch could be very big. Suddenly, Saudi Aramco from zero, we went up to $700 million, right? So that was like X 100 times. So we continue to be bullish on oil and gas and water also. But today, visible, T&D and B&F would be a good, significant order book getting into next year also.
And very quickly, because we're very short on time, any new geographies? Are you targeting anything in the works?
So we are already in 70 plus countries. Sure. We keep on exploring much. Yeah. For us, our priority continues to be LATAM, followed by Europe, Africa, and then Middle East. Okay. I think that priority could continue. Okay. But post-war, let's see what opportunities come up, and we'll be more than happy to jump into that.
Okay, lovely. Sounds good. Mr. Mono, it's been a very interesting conversation. Thanks for your time, and viewers. With that, we completely timed out on this edition of the show. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thank you very much.